Hey, what's up, guys? So we're going to do a round trip now, going from SketchUp into 3D Coat to create our high voxelized baking model, and then into Substance Designer. And there's a few little tricks that you need to be aware of when you're doing that. First off, there's a lot of objects in this thing. If I look at my uh, outliner, you'll see that there's just a ton of objects. And if I have to go in and try and voxelize each one of these independently, 3D Coat, it's going to take me forever. So what I've done is I've basically gone ahead and created these layers. I've got 3 layers: the barrel, the metal, the wood, each one for the different objects that we have. Um, uh, each one for the different materials. So if I say the barrel, I'm going to go File, Export as a OBJ, and I'm going to call this one the barrel. Yes, okay, and so that's good. Then I'm going to turn off that, go to metal only, and I'll say File, Export as 3D model, and the metal is right there. Export, yes, place it, and then I'll turn off that and go into wood and export this. So before I do that, I'm going to just talk a little bit about layers. So the key thing with layers is that entities like this right here, if we go up to there, you can see that that's layer 0, but if I double click on it, that's the wood layer, right? So in fact, I'm going to probably just take that and take these and ungroup those so that they're actually. The other thing is to keep in mind is that each one of these is got to be, they have to be a solid object for it to voxelize correctly. So if you don't voxelize, if they're not solid, they may not voxelize correctly. So we'll go into here. So just like select this stuff and let's take a look and see if it's a solid. It is. Good. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. Keep in mind that you always leave your layer 0 active here. Never want to actually put and you just basically take components and move them to where they need to be, right? So if this component is on, how you can make it now, it's on wood, but and then this component is on wood also. So point is that once we get this done, we go ahead and select this file and we export the 3D model here, and that's just our wood, right? So we're going to create these are the models, the solid models that we are going to import into 3D Coat. So let's jump into 3D Coat now. Okay, here we are in 3D Coat. We've exported our models and we're ready to move forward. So let's open them up in voxel sculpting. I'm going to go, let's grab the metal one first, and I'm going to go and hit import without voxelization, of course, hit apply. So now they come in as surfaces. I'm going to leave this as V because I'm going to change this to be metal. Now, I can go in and, these look kind of bad. I can go into each one of these independently. Like, let's take a look at this one here. And I can hit return and give it 1,000,000 faces. And you see it kind of knocked it out kind of nicely. Oops. You can kind of see that that's what it did. So I can do that, but then I got to do it for every single one of these, which I don't want to do. Plus, I want to kind of keep the resolution the same across all of them. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to click on this metal layer right here, and then I'm going to click on this little resample. You can use that down here also. You can resample a Res Plus. This Res Plus. So I'm going to just 2, 4, 8. See, it's at an 8x right now. Then I right click on this and I say merge subtree. So what that does, it's going to take all those layers, and there's probably 30 or 40, maybe 50 layers in there, and it's going to resample those all at 8x voxels. And when it's done, it'll take about 30, 40 seconds. When it's done, you see what it does. So it's got this little, see, you got these little strings in here. So if I go to geometry and I just say, smooth all, that's Command F, sorry, geometry, smooth all. And it should help get rid of some of those screens. It'll take a little while, but there you go. So it got rid of those nicely. and we're pretty close. We're going to mess with this a little bit more, but let's go ahead and give it a color, and then let's go over here, and we're going to do the same thing. Oh, there we are. We're going to do the same thing for wood. So I'll go in here, type in wood. Okay, and file, import object, grab that wood object, hit apply, hit the I use the T key for this, but again we'll take that. Let's give it a darker color, something like this. Oops, actually don't have anything in it now, but let's go ahead and right click and say merge subtrees. Oh, no, before we do that, we got to add that 2, 4, 8. Okay, now we can right click, merge subtree. This will take, again, this will take about 30, 40 seconds. This is an important part of the process, though, as we move forward, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to streamline all these different components and how we can voxelize them without getting into too much mess. Plus, we're actually creating different groups, and the reason we're taking these different groups is we're going to export each one of these groups as separate high poly meshes that we're going to use to bake, and that will give us unique IDs in our final bake. That way we can have one exported OBJ from SketchUp that we use to UV map, and then all these different colors and textures can go on there. So we get one big 2048 by 2048 map that has the metal, the wood, and the barrel. So speaking of the barrel, okay, we want to go ahead and import the barrel, which is the final one. Let's go up here to the root. All right, and let's hit the plus button. Let's call this barrel. Okay, let's make sure the barrel is selected, and let's say file, import object. Let's choose this barrel. There it is, you can see it. I'm going to hit the apply button once. Okay, it turns it to an S, and then we'll just go back into one of these buttons. So there's the barrel. Now what I can do here is I can just hit the enter key on that. Let's give the barrel maybe 1,000,000 or 1,000,005. One or a million's enough. Okay, so there's the barrel, you can see. So now we've got 3 different materials and the object. So now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to save this. And here we are, save. And this is before I go ahead and I'm going to add some destruction to it here in just a little bit. With the barrel, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to smooth it. Because it's a surface now, I can actually jack up the smoothing a little bit. And there we go. So you see we're kind of getting a little nicer. And I can also now go into these voxels and I can tap on them. Oh, that's the ghost, sorry, the V. Turn them to surfaces as well. Okay, I tried to tap on this. I tried to turn this voxelization into a surface, and it was actually going to generate a ridiculous number of polygons. Let me look at the Command R. So if I look at this and hit Command R, you see that I've already got 20 million, which is way too much. So I'm going to actually knock it down to maybe 5 million. And let's go ahead and let it process. And then once it's processed, we can then turn it into a surface. But that was going to die on me. So we'll get this done when it come back when we're done. Okay, we're done. And so now if we do this, we'll see we're at 4 million. So we're good. So now I can tap this button and turn it into surfaces, and that works pretty good. And then I'll do the same with this one. I'll take this metal and take a look at it real quick. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna actually hit it while it's in the voxel. I'm gonna smooth it off one more time. Command F, let it smooth one more time. See what happens. Okay, and then I'll look at, we're at 9 million, so I want this to be, let's put 5 million, or yeah. Say, okay, and it's gonna think about it, and we're done, and we can turn this into a surface representation too. So I'll do an S, click on here to convert it, and now zoom all the way out, and we'll see that we've got quite a model. So now let me just do it real quick. I'm going to do a save on this, and I like to use this incremental save also here, so I'll do that as well. And now that this is being done, what I want to do is I'm going to just add some real quick damage to this, so you can see what's, so we can take a look at what happens. So I'll go into now. I'll go into the clay, and let's use this alpha, this little pointy alpha. Let's turn it, invert it. Okay, and I'll just come in here on the side here. Oops. And just kind of do a little damage here. And you'll see. So we'll be able to tell how that worked out. Let's do this one too. I'll put some damage on this corner of this bracket, and maybe up in the side here on this bracket. And we'll do the same on this wooden area, so like it's almost like a dent hit that. And we can come in and add even more detail very simply by just going into something called live clay, and we just draw this up, basically go and invert again, and I can just, you can start to see that I'm just adding more damage. Let's get the different rendering, but there we are, so you get an idea. So it adds a little, and also I've got this set of noise, so I'm adding noise. I can turn that off and just add some kind of cracks if I want in there. So you get the idea. And we'll do the same thing here. Hold the control key down and it goes the opposite direction. So I can go like this. That's kind of cool for, and then hold the shift key down, I can hold the shift key down and I can smooth all this over too if I want as well. Even on live clay. So there you go. So I'm gonna just leave it like that because I'm gonna Command Shift S, save an increment, because I want to take you into Substance Designer and show you how this works. So while we're doing that, first let's go ahead and get our file out of here. So what I'll do here is I'm going to turn everything on. And now this is not an optimized file, so ideally I'd optimize this at some point. But I'll save this and I'll select all, and then I'm going to go under extensions. I'm using something called where is it? Material Tools, and I want to remove from entire model all the materials, and then I'll export this, and we're going to call this one the Voxel Bulls OBJ, and export it. Yes, and then we'll go into I'm going to go right back to 3D Coat because I need to get some UV maps. This is the fastest way I know to do this. File, New, go into here. There we are. Okay, so go into here, paint UV map. Let's go get this file that we want, and we want to make sure that we say no center step right here. Everything else is good. We only have one UV set, which is important. That's because that one UV set is going to have all of the different materials on it. So I hit OK. Now it's going to actually do its best to figure out how to unwrap this. It's done. Pretty good. And I go to UV. You'll see all the different objects are in here. So we've got all these different objects, all the different polys and everything are in here. And if I roll around, I can look at each one of them. So I'm going to, on here, I'm going to say export objects and textures. I want to use the none. And I'm going to export it as this final, or I'm going to, put it, this voxels from 3D code. Oh no, I want the UV object, right? So I'll take this, something with UV in it. So that's our UV. Save. It all resists, you want to place it. And okay, so now we're done. Now I'm going to go back into this one. And in here, I'm going to basically export. So yeah, I'll just say, actually I need to optimize the geometry a little bit more. Let's go to the, well, let's just go into geometry. This is really good, this decimate. Decimate is I think better than when you export it. I think this does a better job of decimating. So we're at 2 million. I want that to be about 1 million, right under 1 million. So right there. Okay, and I'll convert that. Now I'll do the same with each of them. I'll be back when I'm finished. Okay, now we have them, so you can see that each one of these, that's 1 million polys, that's 913, and that one's 687. So I can select the metal and say File, Export Object, and I'll go to the metal high, because this is the high one, and let that, we want to not reduce it, maybe reduce it just a tad, but it's fine. Okay, do the same for wood. File, Export Object, and we'll go wood high, here it is. And it's going to be, let's not reduce any of that. Let's get the barrel. File, Export Object, and barrel is barrel high. There it is right there. Save. Yes. And we don't want to. Okay, so we're done with that. So now we have all of our objects exported. Next stop, Substance. Okay, here we are in Substance Designer. So we'll say New, and we want to select our UV object we just created. And here we are. So you can see there's our object. Notice over here it only has one texture set. And if we hold down the function key F2 or F1, you'll see here's all the textures for everything. So I'll go back to F2 here. Now I want to bake this stuff. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go into the ID. And instead of vertex letter, I'm going to use mesh ID. Instead of color, I'm going to use random. So that's a key thing. Then let's go back to common, and we're going to add in the high object, the barrel high object. We're going to add in the wood high object. We're going to add in the metal high objects. We're adding all those objects in. I want to have the maximum front distances. I'm going to leave this just a little bit. I'm not going to move it much because I don't think I need very much for this. Let's put something like this. I'm going to have it at 512 because I want to see what it looks like first. So I hit the bake front textures. Here we go. This will go fast. Typically, I'll rasterize this at 2048 and not 512, but I just want to do that so we could get done a little quicker and can show you. So basically, we're done, if we go over here, notice that even at 512, we got some crappy resolution there, but it works. It works. It's showing it's working fine. So now what I'm going to do is if I want to choose what we're going to paint, right? So the way that works is we basically want to take a fill layer. Let's take fill layer and let's add to it a color. Actually, let's add a black mask, and let's see, and then let's go and add color selection. Oops, click on this, say add color selection. Okay, so now we click on this little pick color button, and you see we've got different colors for different parts of this. So we have, if I just hit the this, then that's the color selection. And now I can just go over here and just choose, like, click on the fill layer in this part right here, just choose a wood, and you see we've got wood showing up where that is, right? So I can choose a different wood if I want to. I can go over here and rotate it, and you know, let's rotate it like this. Or choose something else. Anyway, so you get the idea. So that's how that works. So if I want to go and so I add another fill layer, and I add another black mask, and in the mask I say add color selection, and now we're going to pick the metal stuff, and we'll just go in here and just say click on this part over here and hit something metal, so that we have the metal on top of there. You can see. So again, we don't have very good resolution on that map because it's so small, but you're kind of getting the point. So lastly, let's just do it one more time. Click here, add black mask, add a color selection, pick a color. We'll get this, and then let's go to something like a smart material. Click on our fill layer there, and we'll look at for something like iron. Let me see. Let's see if we can find some iron in here. So you get the idea. So I'm just, I can keep playing with this all day long, but that's the whole key part, is that you want to create this in a way that's going to allow you to very quickly take a workflow all the way from SketchUp into here. Okay, so I also want to come back. I re-rendered this, or re-rendered our maps, and even though I haven't added the grunge layer yet, you're starting to see it starting to look pretty good. And if I look at my, you can see my 2048K is pretty well laid out. So now what I've done is I did the same technique we were talking about, and now I'm going to add. I just created an empty layer up here, and by the way, I want to mention that. Let me go ahead and show you. I was able to add some smart materials, and the way that works is, let me just turn all these off, and let's just grab a smart material. So I'm going to grab something like this copper, for instance. I'll drag it up here at the top. Okay, so there it is. The whole thing's copper. Looks great. And then once I've done that, I can add the black mask next. And then once I've done that, I can say add the color selector then, and then pick the color. And I want my copper to be, let's say, there. So that's really kind of the the way it works. In fact, that's actually not a bad way to look at that. It was a Brown's cannon, so we can go ahead and drop this up here, and I'll turn this off. This is this copper. I can trash that since we did that, and I'm going to try this iron old right down here. I'm going to trash that too, and we'll go and do this bronze, and we'll do the same thing. What I'll do is I'll just say add a black mask, add a color selector, pick the color. There, so now we have that in there. So the other thing I want to talk about is let's take this layer up here. Let's turn these on. There's these on. So what I want to talk about is how I can actually add some more grunge and grime into there. So these smart masks are kind of good. I like this edge scratched one, so I can just drag this over here, put it right here, and I can click here, and now I've got this color right here, and if I just go in here, I can just choose kind of a darker color, maybe in this case we want to have a little bit brownish, so let's put it right in here, so it's somewhere like that little brown color. And now I can just kind of, you can see, I can just kind of draw over here and just kind of, paint, where I want, some of this dirt to kind of show up on these edges and stuff. So that's, some build up or whatever. So you get the idea. So I might say, for instance, back in here, we're going to have a lot more dirt showing up back in here because, we're near the ground a little more. So you get the idea. But so there's the dirt. We're adding some more dirt onto some different parts of it. So just kind of gives it a little bit more of a real feel to it. anywhere there's some ambient occlusion going on, probably we can touch it up also with a little more extra dirt on there. Kind of works pretty good. So get the idea. There you go. Maybe put some at the end of this barrel, because it's it's where stuff comes out. Anyway, so yeah, that's just something I want to show you about those masks. See, it turned out not bad at all. It's kind of a nice quick example. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks.